Well, this year, unemployment among Black women has increased significantly, rising from 5.4% in January to 7.7% in September. In April alone, over 106,000 Black women lost their jobs. The disparity in unemployment rates between Black women and other groups is widening faster than it has since 2020. The NAACP asserts that this trend is not merely a result of bad luck or market forces. Karen Boykin Towns, Vice Chair of the NAACP National Board of Directors, is here to discuss the economic challenges that are faced by more than 600,000 Black women who have been sidelined.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. Tell us a little bit about what you're noticing.
Well, I mean, we have a crisis on our hands, and it really is one that Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley has been sounding the alarm, but it really requires us to ensure that we are aware and that we are really looking to determine, what can we do? Because quite frankly, I don't know about you, but I have a number of friends who have been impacted, and it's not because they have done a bad job. It's not because they have decided to leave. It seems like it's a systemic disinvestment where they are being impacted due to nothing that they have done other than a lack of being undervalued, and just the times that we have found ourselves in where we have policies that are going against the progress that we've made, where we've had government shutdowns and massive layoffs, and where corporations have walked away from commitments that they have made. And so here we find ourselves, but at the same time, we know that we must band together and find ways to continue to press on despite just the continued avalanche of issues that, want to overtake us.
This topic hits home for me because I was one of the 600,000 Black women. I found myself without a job in September, and I've seen other journalists, Black women, that have lost their jobs too. Can you tell us if you're seeing any trends in the industries? Which industries are pushing Black women out at the highest rates?
Well, I think it's important to note the industries where Black women are overrepresented, where we're finding and seeing some of this. We're talking about retail, we're talking about health, we're talking about the federal government. These are industries where we are over-indexed and where there are and I should also mention not-for-profits, those organizations that have been getting government contracts that have been impacted. And so that is where we're finding a lot of the loss. And what we know is that Black women in particular are paid less than others, 71 cents on the dollar. And then when they are impacted with losing their jobs, it's not just about the income that's lost. It's about the generational wealth that gets impacted. It's about the unemployment gap being increased. And we know that with Black women, it's not just us as individuals, it's our families, it's our community. And we must also realize that, it hits our dignity. It hits your confidence. I mean, this is really serious, and we're in a crisis, and the numbers are staggering, as you noted.
Let's bring in Larry. Let's add him to the conversation. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I spent a few minutes talking about the hundreds of thousands of Black women who lost their jobs in the last couple of months. And I'm wondering if, I got two questions. I think the first question is, have we really quantified about how much, in terms of like millions of dollars, this will cost the U.S. economy? I guess that's the first question.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I was talking with one of the economists, Katika Roy, who has been doing a lot of research on this, and I think she had it at about $9.5 billion just in this short period of time. And quite frankly, I think that the work, I think just today, Congresswoman Presley put out a release that she and 22 other colleagues sent a letter to the Department of Labor because not counting the work that they're trying to get the Fed to do, to really look at the real impact that this is having, because, the data is, spotty. And so I really don't believe that we have a very clear picture of the impact that this is having, and it's probably still underreporting.
Yeah, I had one other quick question. I thank you for that. I said millions, you give me billions. So I think that even highlights, when we talk about, make the argument about the harm it's causing our community and the country, that makes it clear. I think the other concern I have is we find a lot of the social safety net is being removed. You talk about SNAP and some of these other programs. And I'm wondering, will the Black community, once again, has historically done, Black churches, Black, mosques, Panhellenic organizations, the Masons, etc. Will the Black community again have to create some kind of its own kind of social safety net to support all these Black women who've lost jobs?
At the end of the day, all we have is each other. And, when I talk about this, community is definitely important to be able to lean on each other. And while there are systematic things we have to address, there are the small practical things that can be done. And so last month, the NAACP, had a virtual job fair where we had 13 companies that were looking for to hire. And we had over 4,000 folks that applied, that registered to participate. In the end, we had over 3,000, 57% of them were women. And I know that NCNW did something similar a couple of weeks after that. So, we have 4 planned for next year. We'll be working with our partners. But at the end of the day, that's just a drop in the bucket. It does not even begin, but we have to do something. Everyone, should do what they can, but ultimately we must, as a community, find ways to come together to address what we're facing, but continuing to advocate, continuing to press the mark, and say it all the time, but 2026 is a big year, and so voting will be something that we will be working really hard on to ensure that our communities understand that elections have consequences, and it is critical that we come out and vote our interests.
Are there any other things that Black women you think can do to protect themselves in this moment right now?
Well, I think that, certainly the job loss has nothing to do with anything that they've done, right? Mm-hmm. And so certainly one of the things that I think, a lot of my friends have been talking about is, determining where we spend our dollars, right? Being cognizant of what we're spending, but more importantly, where we're spending it, and making sure that we're supporting those that support us. I also believe that, there are other things on the horizon that, continue to give us economic instability. When you look at the federal reclassification of professional degrees, that's an issue that, under the big ugly bill, I didn't know what that was when we were fighting all the other parts of it, but it has become very clear in the last couple of weeks that, if you're talking about reclassifying professional degrees, many of which we might have in social work, in education, in mental health sciences, if you're going to say that there's going to be a cap on the maximum amount that you can borrow, that is a problem. That is a problem, and it once again puts us behind the 8 ball. And so, certainly as Black women, we need to, not go to our corners and, really remove ourselves from those networks that sort of give us life, that kind of keeps us encouraged, but more importantly, lean in to each other to really be supportive in ways where, each one, teach one, or each one share information that you have. Now is not a time to be gatekeeping. It's really a time to be open and sharing. And so, this too is a situation where it's serious, but at the same time, we have platforms like yours that allows us to talk about the issues and find ways to be able to galvanize ourselves to be the resistance.
Well, Karen Boykin-Towns, thank you so much for joining us and for all the work that you're doing.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.